sports, 100% reflective. Sometimes it's Raven. Sometimes it's other teams affected. Hold on tight, strap in. It's going to get hectic. Couch Rider Report, an original sports perspective. Hey, welcome back to the home of Original Sports Perspective. From our couch to yours, this is your host, Jermaine Lockett, your couch rider, Raven. I just want to say thank you for coming through. Appreciate y'all just sticking with me through the technical difficulties, through all the changes to this show, everything. I appreciate y'all coming back. There's a couple of y'all that haven't been on live, and I just want to say, hey, shout out to you. Thanks for coming back, Cam Neal. Bless Brian. Thanks for staying loyal. Wilbur, what's going on, man? I appreciate you. Hey, give me just 1 second. I forgot the most important piece of the show, internet connection. 1 sec. All right. So here we are. Y'all saw the title. It got a little, I was like, all right, I'll just put this out there. I did a fairly decent job on the Photoshop doctor up with the graphic. If you didn't see it on my Twitter or my Instagram, I feel like, it was fun to mess around with, and I just wanted to put it out there. And then everybody came for me. They came for me. But we'll get into that in just a second here. We got to do the business first. So please, hit the like button. Hit subscribe and smack that bell so you know when it's going down. I appreciate all the subscribers. We sitting at about 133. I think we lost one. It was a shame over the silence. I don't know where they went, but hopefully they come back. But whatever. Like I said, down to business, folks. Down to business. The show today starts off with G-Ro. Of course, G-Ro's still here. Y'all got to get over it. Just remember that. He's just part of the equation. Look, I know y'all still sobbing. Probably moved on to a couple other topics. Probably came back to this one, but it's okay. My man is still in the building, and he does some good things. Go look at the All-22 tape. You'll see that, my guy, he points out the good things and the bad things about G-Ro. But you look at those route concepts, and they look nothing like the year before. Anywho, like I said, shout out to y'all. We are at 1,033 subs. Better not be at 133. Don't that many leave. I don't need y'all leaving. All right. So we're at 1,033 subs. If you know somebody who is subbed and they ain't here, time for roll call. Get them back in here, please. All right, here we go. Like I said before, let's move forward. Davante Adams. Can we afford it? Can we not? So, of course, we know Rashad Bateman had some serious he had an injury. He came back in week 5. The dude did all right. Had he played all the games, he'd have had more. He'd have been a beast. He'd have been a real beast. But what we saw in the Cleveland Browns game, where he went over 100 yards, in the Cincinnati game, when he had that first drive with those 4 catches and that touchdown against the Miami Dolphins in the last 5 minutes of the game, where he started to really turn up, and you started to see that X come out. You started to see that number 1 type receiver come out. But then there's also the Chargers game when he's playing in the slot doing big things. When there's also the Minnesota game when he's in the slot making one-handed catches. So then it makes you think, like, hey, would it be nice to pair him up? Like I said on the tweet, you go check the tweet. I said, pair him up. Hollywood. Pair him up. Rashad Bateman. Pair him up with Davante Adams. And having Mark Andrews already there. This could be beast. This could be something special. But can we afford it? I say, can we afford to pass on it? This guy's a free agent. He's one of the top receivers out there. And maybe he takes a discount for a ring, because there's a possibility with that combination of receiving core that he could possibly get a ring. I mean, look at the other people that are contending with a lot of cap space. You got the Bengals with $50 million, but they obviously need to go after offensive line, but they still have the room to be able to sign to Davante Adams. Do we want to be competing against them or playing with them on our team? Then there's teams like the Steelers. They don't have a quarterback, so whatever. The Chargers will be a super contender if they sign Davante, but that's not a big need of theirs. They need to work on their defense. I see who else. There was one other big team out there. Then, of course, there was like teams that were pretty much in the trash can that had a lot of cap room. So Cincy was one, and I remember the Dolphins being one, but the Dolphins just don't have what it takes right now. They're just not there. They still got to figure out how they're going to formulate their offense, go with a draft plan, all that good stuff. Teams that are contenders that are going to go after it were the Seahawks. That was the other one. Seahawks. And you had, it was the Seahawks, and then the Bengals and the Chargers were like really good options for Davante Adams to go. But if the Ravens have the cap space, then they may be able to go there. So let's talk about it. Let's hear what you guys got to say before I jump into how we're going to do this. Yeah, the Wi-Fi, the connection, does it keep freezing? Is it still freezing, or did we actually fix this? So audio solid though, thought the phone, but it's your connection. But let's try. So we good? Are we sitting in the good connection area? Y'all got to let me know. I might have to just jump on from my phone to see what it looks like right now. We sitting good? Somebody give me a thumbs up or something on here if I'm actually good. I know we're probably delayed a bit. Okay, so yeah, it does look like it's freezing in and out just a bit. I know we're probably delayed a bit. Okay, so yeah, it does look like it's freezing in and out just a bit. Cricket Wi-Fi. Okay. What I'm going to do is probably unhook something in order to get something else going. So in order to get my Wi-Fi directly in, we are going to unplug the mic for a second and go directly in. Y'all let me know if this helps a bit. Poor Wi-Fi connection from the basement of you killing me, bro. You got to throw shade at this particular moment. I'm over here struggling. You gonna kick me while I'm down? It's cool, man. It's cool. You know, I'm fine. I'm gonna be all right. Sorry. So, all right. So let's see what we got. I think that actually looks a bit better. And we'll go ahead and get back to business over here now that the connection is halfway decent. We're gonna mute myself. All right, back to business. Screw you, Will, by the way. And we're gonna keep rolling. They're gonna talk about cricket Wi-Fi. Y'all just heartless up in here. Anyway, so like I said, we was talking about Davante Adams, and I say that we can afford to sign this guy, and you're like wondering how. I am not Brian McFarland. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have the cap guru whiz stuff, but I do see decent numbers and know how restructuring works. So when you restructure something, you end up kicking money down the road. It ends up being a little bit more expensive unless you can get them to come up with the players to come up with new contracts or adding an extra year onto a contract called a restructure. And then basically, you know, of course, we know that they're depreciating value within their age. And so we may be able to get a cheaper deal. Might want to sign for an extra year. So that is kind of some of the things that I did. And Baltimore's sitting at about $9.8 million right now. Yes, there are some things that we're going to need to sign back or some people that we need to sign back. You know, there's an opportunity to sign Calais back. I don't want Big Baby back. Honestly, I don't want Calais back. I want to see Matabike sign, and I want to see Davis get signed in the first round, or at least get drafted in the first round at number 14. That's my opinion. I have I know y'all have a million out there. I'm going to respect yours as well, but we're going to keep the party going. Anywho, with $9.8 million right now, I was able to find a way to create $32.75 million in cap space with a couple of moves. And I know Eric DeCosta said he can make 20 mil easy. I'm trying to find some creative ways to make even more to sign Davante Adams to about $22 million a year deal. Now, yes, we know that Davante should be paid like one of the highest paid receivers in the NFL right now, as in D-Hop. If he's looking for that type of deal, he's not looking for a ring. Let's just be honest. Let's call it what it is. If he's just trying to get paid, then he ain't gonna get that ring because he can go to the Dolphins and he can get that. He can go to the Bengals and he can probably get that. But is he gonna get the reps that he wants? Is he actually going to get back to a Super Bowl when his quarterback is on his back because they decided to spend all that money there instead of on an offensive line? And by the way, they still had to sign all of those players back on defense. They had a few people leaving. They still got to do some roster maintenance as well in order to make sure that 50-some million is spent well. Well, here it is. Baltimore has an opportunity, and I'm about to lay it out for you. So the first thing was restructures. Actually, let's see what Grove says here. Whoever says cut Lamar and save millions, Huntley are you out of your mind? Just because he had one decent game against you, it does not mean Huntley is the future. My man is, even on, I'm telling you, man, you about as clueless as my Wi-Fi over here. It's just it's really off. Anywho, so like I said, we got 9.8 million. When it comes to restructures, if you can get Mark Andrews, to restructure his contract to where we can roll about $2.3 million into a signing bonus for this year, make his cap number about $1.16 million in 2022. That's, of course, going to roll over and split that money into 2023. We're looking at $5.2 million cap hit in 2023 and a $9.2 million cap hit in 2024. And so that gives us an extra $2.3 million on the cap for Mandrews. And then with Marlowe, of course, all pro Marlowe, he was paid like one of the highest corners out there. But of course, we need to go back to the table and turn some things into roster bonuses for him when it comes to his restructure, make it to where he's making about $15 million in 2023, but lowers that cap number down to about $5 million this year. Just a little bit of restructuring and turning money into actually upfront money. It's going to hurt us in a little bit in the back end, but I'd make sure it didn't hurt too much. It adds an extra $10 million on the cap with all of these restructures, but at the same time, we're gaining close to $42 million. I figured that the Saints can be completely idiotic and bring out the credit card on the cap and do stuff to put themselves negative $74 million in the hole, and then these analysts come out of nowhere saying that they can find room of $100 million. Baltimore can find $42 million. So I say this is where we're pulling out the credit card a little bit. Got to pull it out just a little bit to cash, to put $10 million on it. That's not bad. It's not bad at all to put $10 million on the sofa, on the mattress for next year. Yeah, that's going to hurt us a little bit next year, but the cap should be higher. The TV deal should have went through, and the cap will be up enough to sign Lamar and be able to get that big pick, or get those big players, big-time players that we want to pull into Baltimore to be like the Rams just a little bit. Not like the Rams, not going all out, not having, giving away all of our draft picks until 2024 or something like that as far as first rounders. But this is making a little bit of a risky move here to sign somebody who could help this offense go from pretty darn good as far as the receivers go to prolific. All right. Yes, we all know that Wilbert is a Lamar fan and he wants Lamar in Cleveland. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry, Will. You can cry it out. Whatever. And then, here we are. We are going to go back to the next person that needs to restructure. So we got Marlowe. Restructure his savings, add about $5 million to the cap this year. Then, of course, if we cut Alejandro Villanueva, we cut him, that's $6 million. We cut Tavon Young, that is $5.8 million. We cut Boykin. I'm sorry, y'all. I know there's a lot of Boykin fans out there. I was a big Boykin fan. I was really hoping, like, hey, this dude's going to do more than just show up in training camp. I mean, what, he have one target this year? It's not enough. You can't pay this dude $2.54 million and say, hey, yeah, you're good enough to come in. You're a blocker and all that. No, he needs to trade positions, become a tight end, go back to the table, take some veteran minimum, or my man needs to be gone. $2.54 million savings by cutting Boykin. There's a restructure. I think we need to restructure Peters. And when I say restructure, I'm saying add an extra year on the deal. He knows how old he's getting, and he knows that his worth is going to go down the second he hits his 30s. But tacking on an extra year on the deal, giving him a 2-year, $20 million deal with the $5 million on the cap hit for 2022, and then $15 million for 2023. And I know y'all are like, okay, well, 2023, yeah, I'm putting it on the back end. And I know it's going to be a year that hurts Lamar, but at the same time, this is a deal that makes sense in order to make this room for Davante Adams. So that will save $5 million on the cap this year by having him take a cap hit of $5 million, and then he'll get that $5 million back next year. Let's see here with Boyle's restructure. We go to the table with him and we give him $7.5 million next year, $7.5 million the year after that. And so we're adding an extra year on the deal, just letting him know, like, hey, you may be up there in age, but mainly you're not this prolific receiver that we're looking for. You're a blocker that we definitely need as a tight end, but we lower his number this year to $1 million. All right, let's see what Wilbur says here. It says Lamar gets paid and you don't have money to get high free agents. Cutting your already bad line to make cap space is going to get Lamar injured again. First of all, we already had plans of letting AV go. I mean, you can see it all over the net that AV is gone. He is not worth the money that they brought him in for. Second of all, hopefully Stanley comes back. And then we also got Juwan James. There are a couple other players like Sharp. He's coming back. Makari's still able to play right tackle. He can also play guard as long as he stays away from center, because we know what happens when he gets a hold of the ball. We got line options. It's just we probably need to draft at least one or two more, and I'm hoping in the earlier rounds to go ahead and complement what we currently have there. Cleveland is developing, not your Cleveland, the squirrel eater. He is developing, so he might actually turn out all right on the left guard position. I believe is it Bozeman or Powers, one of those two. One needs to be signed back, and the other one's actually still there. Then you got Zeitler at guard. And then, like I said, at our right tackle, it's going to be a bigger competition because we have a few guys there that Eric DeCosta said, hey, he hasn't seen play yet. And Juwan James is one of those. Because we could have saved a lot of money if we dropped Juwan James. But, I mean, he hasn't played. He got paid basically to be on IR last season after he hurt his ankle in Denver. And this guy could come out and start at the right tackle position. Denver was ready to pay him a buttload of money. But he got injured, not football-related. Had a non-football-related injury. They jacked his money, and then they said, see you later. So here's the thing, this line isn't as bad as people think it is. They're not healthy, or they weren't healthy, but they'll be healthy. Let's give them a chance. Here we go. So, like I said, we're looking at the numbers still. I stopped at Boykin, went to Peters, and went to Nick Boyle. So that's about 30 mil so far. And then, of course, the rest of it's going to come from the $965,000 we get from cutting Jalen Ferguson. I know that Cam Rue's not here. If he was, he'd probably be going off about the cutting of Cam Rue. I'm sorry, bro. The cutting of Jalen Ferguson. I just don't think that he's even worth the $965 that's against the cap right now. And I'm talking about $965,000. So cutting him, cutting Hill, just Hill, that's $965,000 as well. And then cutting Iman Marshall. That'd be an extra $825,000 by cutting Marshall. Marshall just hadn't panned out. He's had the injuries. What do you want me to say? I don't have a charity or a sympathy case on that, especially when it comes to being able to have a chance at signing a premier receiver by making all of these adjustments to the roster. That means cutting a couple of these players that honestly we were waiting on them to shine. We were waiting on them to get healthy. They just could not seem to cut it. So be it. We're waiting on, Boykin. He just didn't show up. That's $2.5 million that could be in the pocket right now going towards another player. And I'm hoping that player is Davante Adams. So anyway, like I said, with all of those savings, that's about $32,755,000 in savings. Add that to the already $9.8 million we have on the cap, and we're talking about $42.5 million that is sitting there ready to sign back players that we need, and also making the room for Davante. Give him a $22 million a year deal, let's say 3 years, because he's going to be hitting his 30s in this deal. Let's say we get him that type of deal. 3-year deal, $66 million, give him a little bit of cash up front. But I say, hey, make it fully guarantee the contract, because he's going to give us decent performance the entire time. Either way, $22 million a year for this guy only hurts us. It gives us $20 million to still wiggle with, to move with. So what do you think about that? What's going on, LBHT? So I was talking some craziness, man. Hopefully y'all were able to catch up on that. Y'all let me know what your thoughts are. Wilbert, first of all, Baker's not elite. Yeah, no, sir. Not about it. So LBHT said, what's up? Hey, just in case y'all haven't hit subscribe on their show, they got probably the hottest show on Wednesdays. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, my show's there, but it's not as hot as the LBHT. If you hadn't hit subscribe over there, you need to go ahead and take your butt to that show to hit subscribe and smack the bell so you know what's going down over there as well. That show is entertaining as all get out, and I'd like to spend my time there at 6:15 p.m. Central Time on their shows. I really do enjoy it. And for those of y'all that come through here that are loyal, thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate every last one of you. But I'd like to hear some of your thoughts on this cap restructure cutting business. Like I said, it's not going to make 100% sense. It's not going to make Brian McFarland gush or anything like that. No, this is simply something that I drew up a few hours ago because I saw a couple tweets out there. People were saying, oh, you crazy. We got guys on the roster, this, that, and the other. Sometimes, and I know I said probably the exact opposite last season when it came to Julio Jones. Sometimes you got to break the bank. I didn't want to break the bank on Julio because I knew the injury history. And I was right because during the regular season, how many times was he injured for the Titans? How many times did you see a no-name wide receiver lined up as the number one for the Titans? They paid Julio money, big time money, and they paid for it big time because he wasn't there to produce when they needed him most, when they needed to get everything they needed to get. And they still prevailed. I mean, as a team, they did pretty darn good with all the injuries that they had. If Julio was healthy, who knows how far this team could have went. But he wasn't. And I'm glad he didn't come to Baltimore. I'm glad we got to see Rashard Bateman do a little bit of his thing. I'm glad we got to see Devin Duvernay develop in the way that he did. We would have never seen that if Julio was on the field. But Julio wouldn't have been on the field because he would have been injured the second we signed him. He would have probably been like going away, my wrist. I'm going to probably be out of like 6-7 weeks, but I got you when I get back. I got you. Oh, Lord. So this dude says, video still, he's so shady. So your video's still freezing. The Ravens froze at 8 games. You just full of shade tonight. Oh, yeah, I love you anyway. Sorry. What's going on? Denville Carlisle. I don't know if you're new to the show, but I appreciate you coming through. Davante Adams is not signed for that amount of money. But you got to think about it. Sometimes you get the championship, and then you go get the pay. Y'all remember Darrelle Revis, right? Revis went in there, and Revis said, okay, look, y'all, with the Patriots, I'm not going to sign for that much. But after I get that ring, he went back to the Jets and said, tell him to bring me my money. Bring me my money. Did the dance and everything. And he got paid. He got paid about, was it $40 million? Not for 1 year, but he got a contract of $40 million. And of course, then everybody started visiting Revis Island, and he could care less after that because everybody was roasting him after they figured out he could not keep up with the 9 route. But y'all saw Olympic sprinters over there getting the best of him from the Buffalo Bills. Tyrod Taylor got a piece of that. Remember that? In the colorblind game, y'all got to remember that. That was Revis Island, and he was roasting over there. What I'm saying is you got to get your bag, or you got to get your ring, then you can get your bag. Like right now, think about it. The Ravens just won the Super Bowl. What are their agents doing? They are banging the table. Every last one of them saying, my guy made the Super Bowl, or your team made the Super Bowl because of my guy. And you wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for my guy. So you're going to pay my guy. They might be the daggone long snapper. Like long snapper was like, no, you wouldn't have made it without me, baby. I need $5 million a year. And the owner is sitting there, GM sitting here like, what? Are you serious right now? Like, you going to really tear this whole team apart because you selfish? And yes, everybody's about to get really selfish after that. Here's the time for Baltimore or these players to be unselfish, to put something together special for the 2022 season, for them to make big things happen. All right. So let's see some comments here. We got LBHC saying the Ravens aren't selling anyone on being a championship team right now. We're going to have to pay for the talent. I'm aware of that. That's what I am fully agreeing with you. For once, I do agree with you because remember last year and maybe a little bit of this year, I was like, we can't afford it. And I received a lot of those comments when I placed that picture up there, Davante. Like I said, check my Twitter out because I did a Photoshop because I was like looking all over the internet. I'm like, where can I find a Photoshop of Davante Adams in a Ravens jersey? And I was having trouble finding it. So I was just like, okay, I might as well make my own. Let me see if I can pull that up for you right quick so y'all can see it here on the show versus having to go to Twitter real quick. Let's see. Your boy's at 15% battery on that, but it's okay. We're going to be all right. Anyway, I got 1 million comments on it. People are mad as all get out because I had the nerve to put something up like this. Here we go. All right, so y'all see that there? Not as clear. All right, so basically I put Davante Adams in a Ravens jersey, and it got a lot of comments. People were just like, some were like on board. A lot more were like, we can't afford it. Are you out of your mind? You know, we like what we have already. And don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of what we currently have. I just know what the difference is of development and elite is. We are in development mode. When you got Lamar, as far as shelf life, it's not going to be as long. Why not get something here right now where they can do something big time this year? All right. So you said, yeah, the Ravens are selling be a championship team. We're gonna have to pay for talent. So yes, there's gonna be some talent that's be paid for other than him as well. Got to bring back some of those veterans. I had a list of those that's needed to come back. Let me see if I can get to those real quick. All right, so we had I'm gonna go over this. I think I went over this once before, but we had Calais Campbell, we had Brandon Williams. Of course, Watkins is going to be a free agent, but Ricard's going to be a free agent. Jimmy Smith, Justin Houston, Chris Board, Justin Ellis, LJ Fort, Murray, McPhee, Freeman, Averett, Elliott, and Bozeman. So it was Bozeman, and so Powers is still there. So Powers still can actually fill in those positions, or at least one of those positions, whether it be center or guard. He can come in and be a decent pickup. So here we are with the ones that I said re-sign, because I only saw like 3 that was even worth re-signing. Jimmy, of course, I love me some Jimmy Smith because like I've been rocking with this guy since he got drafted and just been a big fan of his, even though he's been injured. But when he comes in, that dude is hot. Then I said Chris Board, but I'm like, that's really not a priority. Doesn't matter. LJ Fort, maybe, but at like veteran minimum. Deshaun Elliott, I said yes with a $6 million per year deal, but that's where that extra $20 million that I was able to create room with. That's what you need. Then Bozeman, I was saying, hey, $5 million a year, but of course centers, I don't know what the pay scale is right now, but hopefully Bozeman takes a discount. Like I said, one of those things where you swallow that pride to get that ring. Those are the players I want to sign back. Everybody else, see you. So you're looking at about $14.5 million under as far as that total would cost the Ravens, and that still leaves about $5.5 million for the Ravens to work with if they have any other things they need to pay for with this. I think the draft class was already calculated in the 9.5 or 9.8 that's available. So they would have $6.5 million of wiggle room if they decide Davante and then decide these other guys back. So no free agency blast is what we're probably looking at. But when have we ever had a super splash in free agency? They wait till the expensive period cools down and they sign the bargain vets to fill holes so they were ready for the draft and being able to draft the best player available. That was what the approach was when Ozzie was here, and we made a couple of splashes these few years, and some have panned out and others have not. So we're hoping that this year that they can just plug all those holes, get the best player available at 14, or trade out of the pick, which, they do that a lot. So let's see what you guys got to say here. Back to defunding the defense. You started this last offseason with defunding the defense to pay the offense. And I think we recognize that there is a need of special talent on the defense. And it was definitely noticed when the Cincinnati Bengals set a record against the Ravens because we had guys getting off the couch. We got to pay some of these guys. Yes, there's going to be some older veterans that need to go. Honestly, I just, as much as I liked what Calais Campbell did against the Colts, you can see like the first and second quarter of that game, he was on struggle bus for real. He started to turn up, as the game started to go to a close, him and Big Baby. But honestly, the dude's aging, and you can go ahead and get you a younger buck for cheaper. Don't have to worry about paying that big price tag on him. I say let's go young. So it comes to getting younger on the defense through the draft, I'm with that. So yes, I would be on defund the defense hashtag if, but in a certain way, in a different way. All right. Wilbur says, gotta have good defense in the AFC. I get you. I get you, man. I get you. Yeah, you might have spelling, but it's cool. It's fine. All right, so you got to be able to put up points in today's NFL. I agree. I do agree. And then it starts with having that offensive line. You cannot throw it. You got a helmet in your chest cavity, sitting here having to wear, body armor because you're getting smacked so daggone much. Ask Tony Romo. He was wearing body armor a lot of games. Ask Michael Vick. He was wearing body armor a few games, and that was for stuff out of the pocket, I'll be honest, because he just didn't get down much. He was trying to get that extra yard, and he ended up getting smacked a few times, and next thing you know, he's wearing Kevlar. Romo was too. But anyway, in the pocket, you need, of course, you need to stay in the pocket. Y'all seen the 10 rings, you know what I'm talking about. But you have to be protected in that pocket. And the only way that you can get that protection is to have that big money left tackle and then have solid quality at right tackle, which is, I'm looking forward to training camp because I want to see the competition of the players. And I want to make sure that, like, hey, we got the right guy at right tackle. I want to see what Juwan James is going to really bring to the table. I want to see Phillips actually show up and be able to play the position. I want to see Cleveland do more than just eat squirrels and get ran over by Aaron Donald. Yes, I threw the shot. Whatever. A lot of y'all coming for me there. But I want to see Cleveland show up. He walked big. Can he play big? Let's go. All right, LBHT says we had our 2 starting corners, yes, out in that game. Absolutely. We had guys off the couch playing. I mean, when you got, was it Kevin Seymour? And I mean, just burners who didn't have much control, didn't have much awareness. And pretty much the Bengals had some like above par receivers. I mean, T. Higgins, was not T. Higgins. Might have been T. Higgins. And then you have Boyd. And, of course, Jamar Chase, probably the most explosive thing I've seen in the NFL in a minute at the wide receiver position. I told you, I was like, Jefferson was hot, but daggone Chase, Jamar Chase is elite, full-on elite type of wide receiver. I don't know if it's maybe, he hit the rookie wall or something like that, but for right now, from what I'm seeing, it's the same thing I saw in college. This guy scored 20 touchdowns in college, and then he comes out, scores, 13 touchdowns. In his first year in the regular season, around 1,455 yards. Dude, nah, man, he's elite. He's elite. He's the real deal. He had the shakes during the preseason. He was going through some stuff with his crazy girlfriend on Instagram. That boy's solid. All right, here we go. O-line is a priority. Definitely priority number 1. I fully agree. Like, we got to figure out what that priority should be in the draft or free agency. There are some options out there as well because the Saints going to have to pretty much unload half of their roster, and there may be some good tackles over there. The Giants, I don't think they're re-signing one of the guys. I think they're going after a guy in the draft in the first round. I think they have the 5th and the 7th pick, so there's an opportunity there to be able to sign somebody who can help protect Lamar. Hey, Adeep, man, what's going on, man? Good evening to you. So the contract would have to be backloaded. I think you're talking about Davante. That's it. It's more likely that the Orioles signed Carlos Correa to a rumored offer of 10 years, $350 to $60 million, and the Ravens signing Adams. I could see, like I said, you make the room now. Like I said, with everything that I explained, you'll probably have to go back and watch it. But everything that I explained, we were able to create close to $42 million, basically. $42 million in space. And if the Saints can make up this magical wand and put it on the credit card and roll things over each year, because last year they were 50-some million in the hole, and this year they're 74 million in the hole, at least until they just did a restructure of Mike Thomas and I think an offensive lineman. So now they're sitting at like 50 mil in the hole. How they pull that out and get an extra 50 on top of that, I don't know. But there was an article on CBS. This dude kept saying, he kept talking about void years. So the thing about void years is you're actually asking a player to give you the option of whether or not you want to cut them or not. You're getting them to sign that in paper. Like, all right, man, you got an option year. I want you to agree to this option year that we get an option to cut you here. but we're going to give you this money up front. But it's the same money. There's no extra money that goes to it. It's just simply there's an option year. It doesn't make sense. No player agent should be like, nah, man, you should agree to this. No, it's just stupid. The void year on the contract, getting somebody to agree to that when you know that they are on a struggle bus for real, it's just dumb. I'd be like, you know what, y'all got to go to the next player and figure out if they dumb enough to agree to this deal, because we don't. You know, it's just what it is. All right. So Denville, is it Den? I don't know how to pronounce the name. Is it Denville? Denville Carlisle. Nobody scored much over 20 points in the playoffs game, except for that one in between the Kansas City and Buffalo. Do you friends still, do you win championship? It happened last year and it happened this year. Do you friends still? I'm trying to figure what you're saying. Yes. Okay. So you're thinking because it wasn't a high scoring until this particular one game, but I think that's kind of what you're gearing up for. You're looking for that opponent that you can completely, compete with. You're looking for you're trying to compete with Kansas City. You're trying to compete with Diggs and Buffalo and Josh Allen, that rocket arm who could just get things done in an instant. I mean, how many scores were scored in the last couple of seconds of that game? It was full on electric. It was fireworks. We need to be able to compete with that, or we need to be able to take it the route that John Harbaugh wants to take, and to slow things down in a way and stay consistent in that slowing things down with the running attack and getting the 37 minutes per game of time of possession. You have to find a way to do that, but still have that explosive receiver on the outside that can make people think about putting 8 in the box. You don't want to do it. You can't sit here and put 8 in the box and have Davante on the outside and expect to be successful on defense. I mean, Ravens, they sit there and they had this 17 bulldog formation against Davante. I'd rather be having Davante on our team and having somebody have to worry about that than actually having to prepare for that with that 17 bulldog formation, where they just basically they threw the entire kitchen sink at Davante. That dude is a prolific wide receiver. He needs to come to Baltimore for real. All right, let's see. Bill scored 47 on the Pats in the first round. You were right. Yes, that's right. It was. I think there was a message that needed to be sent there. Like, you will never in your life only throw it 3 times on us and run all day long in our house. That was just full on disrespectful. What the Patriots did, and they wanted to send a message. But that is what I'm talking about. Like, high-powered wide receivers on that team right there is what made it happen. When you got a wide receiver who can score 4 touchdowns in one game and he's not even the top dude, because your top dude is pulling type of coverage like that away from him, I'm telling you, Baltimore needs that elite type receiver. And I believe Bateman can be there eventually, but right now he's still in development and getting better, turning into what we want him to be. But Davante can help that out. Plus, there's the chemistry of having Davante Adams trainer here and Keith Williams. So Tyreek and Davante both trained under Keith, so that continuity is there. And then, of course, the tutelage of having an understudy such as Bateman under Adams could be great. Let's see what y'all say. Ravens could create $40 million in cap, and Adams still wouldn't come to the Ravens. I don't think the narrative of Lamar being bad at passing has gone away. Oh, boy. No, go watch the tape, bro. He's not bad at passing. Y'all killing me. The dude holds the ball a little bit longer right now, but he's not bad at passing. Like, go look at it. Like, the first 6 weeks of the season, when things were rolling right, this dude was leading the league in completed passes, the yards per completed pass. He can throw. He can get it done. He can make all the throws on the field. It's just he needs a line to protect him, or he's going to be on his back or scrambling for his life. You're killing me, Will. You're killing me. Let's see. Okay. Wilbur says, I think he meant defense still wins championships. It's possible. I mean, there is the formula. That is one of the formulas, but right now I think high-powered offenses really help out that as well. Lunch break is defunking all of this. It said Tampa Bay scored 31 in the first round. LA scored 34. So that's still high powered. I mean, where's your defense in that? He's got a point. All right. Carlisle says I was saying defense wouldn't win championship. Oh, okay. Okay. So we all on the same page here. We got to get our spelling life together. It's okay. And here it is. I was waiting for it. Man. What's going on, Calvin, man? I appreciate you coming through. If you ain't subscribed yet, do me a favor, smack that subscribe button, smack that bell. You know when it's going down. And let me pause just for a second to put this little plug in there. I want to thank y'all for helping to support my stepfather's church. Those donations have gotten up to about $760 or something along those lines right now. So I appreciate you. Any proceeds that you put in through this show, through Super Chat, or through the Cash App right here, will go directly to that church fund. We want to make sure that we can help build that church back after the fire burned it all down. So, like I said, I thank you for all the support that you've given, and we'll give going forward. So, appreciate you. Anywho, so we said we don't need Hollywood. I don't know. I still think there's a receiver that we need to stretch the field, and I think that is Hollywood. I think Hollywood is going to be working hard during the offseason, probably not as publicized as it was last year and the year before, but he definitely can run that route tree. What I love about Hollywood the most is those deep comeback routes. The way he just stops on a dime and puts the corners on skates to turn back around and come back for that ball, and the chemistry that he has with Lamar proves that we need him. He was great with the comebacks this year, especially the one when it came to Indianapolis. He was very key with his out routes, with his comeback routes, with him and Lamar, and that chemistry there. It was a beautiful thing. And I think that he still needs Hollywood in order to succeed. They best friends, man. They don't hang out at a gas station. You get that chemistry from hanging out at gas stations, going to Arizona together. Them boys probably shopping together right now. We don't know because it's off. Hollywood has basically decided to take himself off of the camera, off of social media, all of that, because I think he's trying to build his NFT brand and make himself more marketable by those NFTs and making sure he's available inside those gaming platforms, and then an entire community for the NFT for another way to reach out to him. So I think that's the main reason. I think he's still going to sign his contract. I think they're just going to be at the table for a bit. And he's got an agent. So it may happen faster than Lamar's deal. It may happen faster than Kyler Murray's deal because he's over there pouting like a little kid. All right, here we go. Let's go back over here to some comments. It said pass defense was good in the beginning of the year. We saw that. We started to happen towards the end. Yeah, they spent a great deal of money during the offseason. I mean, they had a lot of cap room, and they spent, $121 million in the offseason trying to upgrade players at every single position. I know they upgraded at tight end. They upgraded at outside linebacker. They took Judon away from us. And he really thrived in that new defense. And I know we were kind of salty about it, but it is what it is. That dude's an excellent player, and he thrived in that formation. And hopefully the players that we get now work with McDonald and are able to thrive like Aiden Hutchinson did with the Michigan Wolverines. Let's see. So the pass defense, they finished the season number 2. Let's not act like they're bad. They weren't bad. No, they had a great season. I feel like they still did their thing. They were a very dominant team. It's just when it came to the playoffs, you're looking at a rookie quarterback who hasn't had that playoff experience before. He had the Lamar experience in the playoffs, I'll be honest. Like, he wasn't there yet. And he's going to get there, just like Lamar going to get there. I think, Mac's going to be straight. They got the team to get things done. They're going to be a monster in this AFC, or at least the AFC East, for a while, because they got a lot of pieces around them. They got good structure, and they got a great coach. All right. Wilbur says, if you do bring in Adams, the O-line will suffer because you couldn't address it due to lack of money. Then Lamar will still take unnecessary sacks. Did you not even hear me? You didn't even hear what I said, bro. There's still $20 million left over after all of this restructuring, all this maneuvering around, if they decide to make all these moves. And then they can still get an offensive lineman either in the first round, or they can pick something up in the offseason. That's $20 million to play with. 20 ducats. 20 million. All right. So Buffalo was number 1, and KC dropped 42 On. Mm-hmm. Message. I still say we need a defense, though. Just saying. We still need big time pieces. And let's just say that Peters does not want to come back to the table and renegotiate. That's when they say, hey, you know what? Cool. I appreciate it. We tried, but you still sticking around this year. We need you. You ain't getting cut. I don't care. We need you because we need premier corners to be able to stop these players right now. All right. Y'all still going. Let's see. Let me where I left off at. So where was the Rams defense ranked? Good question. Somebody looked that up for me. And last year, where was the Bucks defense ranked? Though the Bucks had one of the most solid defense, not this, I guess this past season, it wasn't, but because they had corners that were missing. But you look at their linebacking core, you look at their front seven, it is phenomenal. It is really just that daggone good. And they paid for it. They paid for a lot. They brought a lot of good pieces in. They developed some, but I mean, they had a good defensive coordinator. They had just great coaching all around. And of course, you got Tom Brady. So some things that you can make up for a couple of things when you got the GOAT on your team. Excuse me. All right. So yes, we need offense, but we need to be able to play defense against these pass-happy teams. That's what I'm saying. Like, so let's just say, 14 comes on the clock, or we get on the clock at 14, and let's say Hamilton is there. I believe that they're taking Hamilton. They're not going to let that pass them by. But if Davis is there, the defensive tackle, I think they pick up on Davis. Now, I'm not saying that both of them are going to be there because these are really top caliber players. There's going to be a lot of Georgia coming off the board, a lot of Alabama coming off the board. So, but I think if Carl Davis is there, Baltimore takes him. Mm-hmm. So Rams were middle of the pack, I believe, is what Lunch Break Hot Take says. They may have been middle of the pack, but you got to figure when it came to the defense in the Super Bowl and the defense and throughout the playoffs, they made big plays. They gave us some big ones. Jalen got kind of embarrassed, but like I said, Jamar Chase is just another talent, generational talent. I know that word's been slang around a lot, but this guy runs a route tree. He puts people on skates. He is physical. I mean, there may have been some pass interference calls down the field with him. I say all season long. He's just that physical, but I think some of those calls may have been missed. But this is like a bully at the wide receiver position. And I think, Baltimore would love to have a player like that on their team. And he just is going to, whoever's in front of him, it don't matter if it's Jalen Ramsey or not. He is ready to get in the business. We saw what happened with Marlo. Marlo got a rude awakening that, hey, this guy is something else. And there were some missed tackles in there, which is why he got that 204 yards. But Jamar Chase is for real. That's it. It says you need more than just one O-lineman. That 20 mil won't help. The thing is, Stanley comes back healthy, and we got Juwan James on the outside. It's going to be fine. It's going to be good because Zeitler had a Pro Bowl year. And then you had to look at the center position. Like I said, we get Bozeman back. I think it was Bozeman, right? We sign Bozeman back. That solidifies the center position. Then we got Cleveland at left guard. So the line is good as long as it's healthy. And I think they'll return to health. This is just a weird year for the Baltimore Ravens. We are never in the bottom of the North. Wilbert, that is your spot. Y'all have owned that spot for years. There's nothing wrong with returning to it again. If you go back there, I appreciate you. All right. Denville says Rams have all those superstars on defense. They have some right now, but they're going to be losing a few. They're going to lose Von Miller and a couple other guys. Of course, Weddle is going back into retirement. He's like, hey, I got my ring. Appreciate y'all. I'm out. Let's see what Adi says. The only issue with Jordan Davis was that he played only about 30% of the snaps at Georgia. Okay. Well, I mean, he's probably going to get it. He's going to get more snaps in coming here. And then, of course, they have rolling coverage for third down. So I don't know if he'll be on the field on third down or not, but it'd be nice to see him play a lot more snaps here. Pat Queen didn't play that much. He didn't play that much in college. He played that last year starting, but then he comes into the NFL and he's still developing. But we found his spot. It's better at will. He's not the Mike. but he is going to shine even more this year now that we know where his sweet spot is. So Wilbur says you need proper depth on the O-line. Injuries without depth is a disaster. That's what the draft's for, man. You know how many picks we got in the 4th round? Got like 5 picks in the 4th. And so with that type of that, we can get the depth out of there, or we can trade up and get a couple of star players as far as O-line. We're going to spend multiple picks on O-line. I guarantee it. You heard it here first. So you can't rely on Juwan James. Okay. I mean, it's a gamble. It is. But you go into the draft, you draft something that will help out just in case Juwan James isn't there. And then, like I said, you make all these cap moves. Maybe there is an opportunity to sign a Teron Armstead. Maybe there's an opportunity to sign the Giants left tackle, or maybe even the Patriots left tackle. There's another guy that came from the Raiders, and he hasn't played it down for Baltimore yet. I think his name was James. I can't remember his real name. No, Jones. Something Jones. Jay Jones. Dude he was straight. And I think the reason I say he was straight is that the GM for the Raiders sent one of their starting right tackles over to the Patriots because they had so much faith in this guy. All right, see what y'all saying right here. Let's see. Only Cooper Kupp unless you consider Stafford a star. I don't know what y'all must be going back and forth about something else here. I must have got left off of this conversation because y'all really going in. I'm trying to catch up here. Odell is a star, bro. Agreed. Cam Akers has the ability to blow up as long as he's got the good run formation. At the end time that you see Cooper Kupp going in motion, it's going to be a run, and I think Cam Akers can take advantage of that. He's a decent, serviceable back, and they got the job done with him. He's also a Super Bowl champion now, so you got to get his man his props. He was part of that win. And then he said, I forgot about Odell. Yeah, Odell was a star. He was a beast. I used those 4th round picks on defense and used the premium picks on offense. I can see that. I mean, they said this draft was edge rusher heavy. So I could see some of that being used in the 4th round, pick up a couple of depth pieces for the Ravens. So because we know Bowser is going to be outside and we know Owe is going to be outside, but maybe pick a little bit more depth since we're dropping Ferguson. I know they haven't done it yet, but I'm hoping that they do because there is money to be saved. There's about $965,000 that can be saved by going ahead and signing the Young Buck, because the Young Buck money has already been calculated in there into the cap. Let's see. Is there a receiver or a tight end that should be drafted number 14 overall? So everybody keeps talking about the London dude, keeps talking about Traylon Burks, keeps talking about the other kid from Ohio State. No. In my opinion, no. I just don't think they pan out. I had the numbers that went around along with that. When you look at the first 2 rounds of the draft, I'm going back to 2020. There were 13 wide receivers that were taken in the first 2 rounds of 2020. Out of those 13 wide receivers, 4 of those panned out. And, that was Jefferson. Let's see. I gave Higgins a check saying, yeah, he panned out. Pittman a check saying, yeah, he panned out. And then Edwards for the Raiders. I say, yeah, that checked out. There were a few that were mess. And I say, meh. As in, they really didn't pan out that well, to be honest. That was Henry Ruggs. I mean, we saw how that ended. I mean, and I'm in court. You got to count in what happens in real life too. I mean, when you get caught speeding, manslaughter, all that, then yes, it didn't pan out. So saying jail is a big issue. You can't play if you're behind bars. So it's plain and simple. Thank you, Captain Obvious, right? Jerry Jeudy, injuries. I like Jeudy. I really do. He was one of the best route runners in the draft. But is he really panned out, or has Sutton completely put him in his shadow? So Rager was a meh. CD Lamb, what y'all think? Y'all think is he that good right now? Is he shining? Is he superstar mode. Did he work out as well as everybody thought he was going to work out? I thought he was going to be better. I said, man. Justin Jefferson definitely panned out. Pro Bowler, loved it. Ayuk, he turned out okay, but I'm saying like, are they superstar type wide receivers that we're looking for? Higgins, I believe so is. Pittman, I believe so. Shenault, meh. Hamler, meh. Claypool, still the jury's out on this guy. Mims, what did I say? Mims. He's in New York. I mean, okay. And then Duvernay. Duvernay panned out as more of a Pro Bowler. Excuse me, as a special teamer that turned into a Pro Bowler and really turned the special teams around at the Baltimore Ravens. But we're not calling him a prolific wide receiver, but he was a hit as far as the draft because of his special teams ability. So we're looking at 4 to 5 receivers that hit in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft. And then there were players that showed up that we didn't think about, like Darnell Mooney, who really came and showed up this year for the Chicago Bears, no matter who was at quarterback. And then if you look at offensive linemen, this is why I'm going back into this. So out of offensive linemen, there were 48 offensive linemen that were drafted in the first. Actually, I think it was 22 in the. Let me check. Let me get these numbers right. 7 in the first round, and then it was 2 in the second round. So we're looking at 9 total tackles, and out of those people that got drafted, we're looking at only. Let's see. The boy from Tennessee, or the one that got drafted to Tennessee, even going bouncing on cars or whatever like that in Miami, and things didn't work out too well for him because he's I don't know if he's without a job, but he's not in Miami, he's not in Tennessee. I got tired of looking after a while for Isaiah Wilson. He might be in New York, I'm not sure. But then let me just start at the top here. So we had the Giants, Andrew Thomas, he's starting right now. Cleveland's Jed Willis. He's starting for a garbage team right now. And then New York, yes, that was a shade. Yes, that was a slight at will. The New York Jets with Becton, he's on IR. Tampa Bay with Wirfs, he's a starter over there. And then you have Miami with Jackson. This dude, because of him, or partially because of him and that team, his quarterback was sacked 49 times. Going back up to the top, 22 times with the Giants. Their quarterback was sacked. Cleveland, Baker got sacked 43 times. Tampa Bay was only sacked 29 times with Wirfs at the position. That was last year. And then with New Orleans, you got Ruiz, the center, 28. And then 49 times was Miami with Robert. I think it's Robert Hunt, but he is a starter. And then you have in Minnesota, Cleveland. He's a starter, and Cousins was only sacked 28 times. So I'm thinking the offensive linemen pan out a lot more than the wide receivers, or they give them more time to develop into what they're going to be than the wide receivers, because the wide receivers seem to have a shorter clock. All right, so there's still a lot of comments to catch up on. Y'all got a lot going on. Y'all might have to start super chatting these things. I'm having trouble keeping up. Let's see. Good one. CDs. All right, so you're saying CD's really good. All right, I just think that ball needs to be. They need to focus more on getting him the rock, because I think he got outshined by that number 1 over there. I can't remember what his name was. He's the slot receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, number 1, or at least he's a free agent right now. But he was the slot receiver over there this year, and I feel like he got a lot of production, and CD didn't get as much. And what about Goodwin? Goodwin, help me out. So the Ravens need another running back, in my opinion. Okay, so as far as running backs go, I mean, we got 2 solid ones in Gus. We got J.K. Dobbins. And like I said, if he ever gets out of Harv's doghouse, this dude Tyson Williams could be explosive, could be that third running back that we need. I don't think running back is the major need right now. They have an explosive running core, to include Lamar Jackson. Much y'all don't want to hear it. This dude that's the strength of his. Don't look at it as a weakness. It's part of his game. It's part of what they're designing around him. And it may not be what y'all want to see. Y'all want to see something else, but let's be honest. That's what they got for him right now. And he's part of that running formation. I mean, and it worked in 2020. 2020, it looked great against all the NFC East teams. It looked really good. All right, so they said they never really had a legendary one besides Ray Rice. Y'all ain't gave J.K. You guys give J.K. Dobbins a chance, man. This dude gonna come out and have a year, kind of like Ray Rice. All right. So you can't mention Ray Rice. Yeah, you can. Look, this man made a mistake. He made up for it. He married a girl. They moved on with their life. And I think he paid his debt because he wasn't allowed to touch the field again. So we can mention Ray Rice. Rice gave us some great years. He gave us that 4th and 29, and he helped get us to a Super Bowl. So, as much love to Ray Rice. Some players are more than just the one act that they have on that in that time of a mistake. That's one chapter in their book. That's not the whole person. Practice forgiveness. All right, so the running backs are cursed for us 3 in one season. Is that a coincidence? They got a new trainer. Got a new trainer in the building. So this is good. We're going to see, hopefully, things turn out for the Ravens, and they focus more on the rehab along with the strength and conditioning and a good diet. Be great. All right, let's skip down a bit. Let's see what Let's Break Hot Take says. Dallas has 3 really good wide receivers. I think they got 4 really good wide receivers. So, because you got, like I said, that dude number 1. He's not the number 1, but I'm saying, like, he was the 4th string wide receiver, and I just know that he was number 1. I can't remember what his name was. Might have been White. Then there's, Gallup, you got CD, and you got Cooper. So that's 4 people right there, folks. That's pretty solid. And in any other team, they'd probably be a number 1. Maybe not that number 1 dude. Yeah, boy. What are you talking about? Lamar has trade room. No, Lamar ain't going nowhere. Ignore. I'm sorry, bro. I love you, but I just don't think that's happening. All right, so we got Amari Cooper, CD Lamb, Michael Gallup are all better than what the Ravens had. Jeez, just hurtful. Some of that is true. I believe that CD is better than Hollywood. I believe Michael Gallup is better than where Bateman is right now. I believe Amari Cooper is better than Hollywood. So, yeah, what you're saying is it's true. It hurts, and that's why I was saying we need to go ahead and put it on a credit card and sign Davante to help elevate this team. All right, here's this guy. Ain't no way that we're able to trade for Jamar Chase. If you think Cincy is going to let that gym go, you got another thing coming. We'd have to pretty much send the mother load to Cincinnati. They're not trading within the division. Moving down. Lisa, what's going on? So which way will Eric DeCosta go with the 14th pick? Smart, sound decisions. You got to think with Eric DeCosta. So you're like, right now I have to take off my crazy gambling hat and just madness, wishing, hopeful stuff or whatever. And I think he's going to go offensive lineman. And the offensive lineman that I was thinking of is from Tulsa. I want to say his name is Tyler Smith. Right now he doesn't have high grades, but I believe he will have high grades after the combine. When they see his measurables, they see the numbers. Let me just pull it up for you real quick. So Tyler Smith was a decently tall dude. He's 6'6", 332 pounds, but he's just a violent guy. I mean, just likes to wreck. I mean, he'd be that bull in the china shop just tearing stuff loose. I really hope Baltimore goes with Tyler Smith because I believe once he goes to the combine, he's going to drop down into the 20s as far as where his draft stock goes. And hopefully Baltimore's just sitting right there ready to pull the trigger. And hopefully they do their homework and recognize that this guy fits the Ravens build. It's not it's not the sexy pick, but it is a smart, sound decision that really helps with the O-line depth and then, really helps protect Lamar. I'm all about protecting Lamar, just like Lunch Break Hot Take. We got to protect him. O-line's got to be our priority. So the Browns have the best running backs in the North, according to Wilbert. It's a fair statement that those guys are some beasts. I mean, when you got the 3rd string or 4th string running back coming off the practice squad, tearing Denver a whole new one, yeah, you got some solid backs, man, no doubt. But this is the Ravens show, bro. It's Ravens. All right, so they're thinking of trading him. Telling you, man, no, they're not thinking of trading Lamar, bro. Franchise. They are not thinking of trading Lamar right now. If they were thinking of trading Lamar, they would have thought about getting another offensive coordinator. I think the two were tied together. I really think that they think that everything that Lamar does kind of succeeds because they have a offensive coordinator that helps with the scheme. Lamar is dynamic by himself. I'm pretty sure if Roman went gone, Lamar still would make some magic happen. But they have an offensive coordinator who complements Lamar. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying G-Ro made Lamar. I am saying G-Ro complements Lamar. And with the help of T. Higgins, with the help of, or did I say T. Higgins? Or is it T. Martin? T. Martin, sorry. T. Martin. And with the help of Keith Williams, it's going to turn into something. We just have to have a little patience and then go, not have patience and go cash in and get a nice receiver on the outside. And then Lisa says Ray Rice, she met Ray Rice and he was a sweetie. Like I said, some people, it's one chapter in the book. It's not the full book. It's not the full book. When we look at Michael Vick, like you Google it, and all everyone to see is that one page, the one page of what happened. That's not the full book. That's not everything that person was. We got to practice that forgiveness. Ray was probably a nice guy, and he made a mistake, a huge one. And like I said, it cost him his career. I ain't finna hold on him forever. The dude was a phenomenal player. All right. LBHT, man, I appreciate you coming through, man. You take care. You have a good night. Lisa says, you're crazy if you think LJ will go anywhere. Yes, that is absolutely right. I don't think that they want to hit the reset button on the franchise, no matter how many times Bucky Brooks or any of these other media folks are going to say it. And I'm going to go ahead out on a limb and just say, hey, look, any of these Twitter profiles that say the word rumors on it, when it comes to NFL rumors or even Ravens rumors on Instagram, any of these folks out there putting rumors out there, they are 100% cap. I'm gonna be honest with you. If it's not coming from a blue check mark like Jonas Schaefer or from Jeff Zrebiec, or if it's coming from Engraven, if it ain't coming from them, I'm sorry. I got nothing for you. Yeah, I don't believe them. They full on cap. If it comes from 107, 105.7, the fan or whatever, they are the fan. They ain't the real deal. I'm gonna tell you straight right now. Like, I am not a fan of them talking about, oh, well, Bashadi's gonna sell the team, all this stuff. Where'd they hear it from? Because they didn't hear from him. They just came up with this because somebody said it on Twitter in some dark alley. And then they just all of a sudden decided to make an entire show on it, got all of Baltimore going crazy. Ain't no rumor of this going on. Somebody made this up. They're trying to get ratings. That's all it is. They all cap. Stick with the check marks, even though Schefter makes some mistakes sometimes when it comes to Tom Brady. Anywho. So I hear Michael was a great guy. Michael who? Sometimes you throwing me off, Ryan. So Lamar told Antonio Brown to go to it. That's the thing, though. You got to look at it like Lamar ain't the GM. Lamar ain't Harbaugh. Lamar is a player on the team, and I think this is something that Tom Brady had to realize for a couple of years too. That Tom Brady, no matter how many cap hits he took, it was Bill's team. And Bill built the team. Tom wanted certain weapons, and Bill would go get what he thought was appropriate. But ultimately, it was Bill's team. And at the end of the day, Lamar is the leader of this team on the field. But when it comes to personnel decisions, that's ultimately between Harbaugh and that's between Eric DeCosta of how that goes down. And I know for a fact that they are not bringing in Antonio Brown. Sorry, just ain't happening, folks. Nobody needs that crazy in their life. We already got one Brown to deal with anyway, right? Do we want a second Brown that's going to be a problem? I don't think so. When it comes to wide receivers, you want to watch what type of divas you're bringing into your building. If you don't watch the type of divas that you bring into your building, you could have a problem. They have a diva mentality. That's just the position and everything that comes with it. You're going to get prolific type play, but you're going to get that crazy factor as well. Oh, Vic, yes. Yeah, okay. So Vic, yes. I think Vic might have been a cool guy. Might have been a great guy to hang out with. I mean, he still loves the game, still playing flag football. It's just fun to watch him, go ahead and sling the rock just like he used to. But yeah, I miss watching that guy play and playing with him on Madden before I can't remember what the name of the mode is. Not franchise, but Ultimate Team. Anyway, Stephen A. Smith hates the Ravens nation. He knows what he's talking, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's true. I mean, there's been times when he's been talking about players on IR and how they're going to be an elite weapon that night or Monday Night Football or something like that when the player's been on IR and he's sitting at the couch looking at Stephen A like, dude, you're out of your mind. I'm in a cast right now. I'm on IR. I think he was talking about Hunter Henry, and Stephen A was just going on a rant. Sometimes Stephen don't know what he's talking about. He just be talking out his butt. Ryan Clark calls him out on that as well, by the way. Yes, he doesn't know much of what he's talking about. But because we watched the crazy man gets paid. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. Because Stephen A be using all those $15 words and he just get it in. It's the truth. So that's kind of what I got all tonight. I'm hoping that after the Ravens look at the numbers and they're able to make some moves, that they pull enough cap room to be able to pull in something worthwhile. And I'm not talking about pulling in a one of those backup wide receivers for the Pats. I'm talking about if you're going to go pull in a wide receiver, pull in the best, or don't pull in anything at all. You sit there and you look at everything that's around the league, and you're trying to compete with some of the big players out there. I'm not saying full on, hey, we need to go because they got a big wide receiver that we got to go get a big wide receiver. No, you counterpunch with corner, and so of course you got to keep your big boys there. You got to keep Marlowe there. You got to keep MP Juice Man there. But when it comes to the offense, definitely you need to help it step up to the next level. And that's what's signing the best. If he's sitting out there and there's an opportunity and he's humble enough to take $22 million a year, you make it happen. Let's see. So you like Max Kellerman for reporting. So when it comes to sports reporting or even like the game calls, you got the one person who is the storyteller, the Bravo Sierra, what should I say? And then the person who's the play-by-play type person. Like Molly, she's going to sit there and help like mediate, narrate, tell you what's going on, tell you exactly what's happening. Max Kellerman, he'll give you like, it's kind of more sticking to the script. And then Stephen A is your off left field, crazy out of his mind type, who will bring excitement to the show. And that's kind of like what you have to have in order to make it at those particular levels. Somebody that's a little bit off field, just crazy out of their mind, like Skip Bayless is crazy, and he's an antagonist. He just likes to piss a lot of people off. And then Shannon, the thing about it, Shannon's just is crazy. They just like to rev it, and hopefully somebody steps in or is in their ear like, hey, y'all got to cut it off so we can go to commercial break. But that's kind of, you'll see those personalities as you go through the media, and they get the ratings because they are crazy. So let's see. Lisa says, I trust Jermaine, E. Graven, Glenn, and James for my info. Yes. So I do like I like Glenn and James. They are fun to watch. I love E. Graven. Like he's just too awesome, man. The dude's just it's a great character guy. He don't flinch when somebody tries to come at him with something crazy. And then of course Ravens flock are always backing him up. Should somebody come at him crazy, like when somebody talked about his kid, all the flock just completely went after this dude. And I'm sitting here like, yo, give me an address. But no, it's the truth. This guy's a great guy. I like Glenn and James. I love my lunch break hot take. I also love this guy who is trying to build his YouTube channel back. If you want to see the hands down best Ravens analysis, go to All 22. Just type in All 22 and you're going to see all types of Ravens content there. This dude is phenomenal. He's got the best library of plays. He's got everything broken down. He's very organized. This guy is trying to get back to 1,000. He might already be at it, but help him get back to where he was before. I think he was at like 8,000. He took some penalties because he had looked at some material that was copyright protected with college ball. And because it was college ball, it really he took about 17 hits because it was live. And those 17 hits caused his channel to shut down. So All 22. Go type in All 22. Please go subscribe to that dude. He is building something phenomenal over there. Great guy. Never seen his face. Never seen his face. But I do know that he has great content because he's able to break down plays in a way that nobody else does for the Ravens on the net. I don't care what they say out there. This guy breaks it down the right way. What's up, Delicious? What's good? Yeah, I'm glad you're here, man. So yes, All 22 is the man. He is the man. He is absolute fire. And I said, I didn't even know that Davante was in it. Yes, free agency. Yeah, so here's the thing. They cannot sign him back to the Packers. They just ain't got the room. They're one of those teams that's got $46 million negative on cap space as well. And they're trying to think about a way to sign Aaron, and it's not working out. They're going to, they just put out a tweet about the London game, about them traveling to London. Guess who was walking across the street on the picture? It wasn't Davante Adams, and it wasn't Aaron Rodgers, because they're not sure about the future of these guys there with the organization. And I just don't think they're going to have it to sign back unless they sign Aaron Rodgers to a longer-term deal, which he doesn't want that. He does not want the long-term deal. And they're sitting at negative 46 million. And I think that's the exact number of Aaron Rodgers' contract. So they got to figure something out. And I just don't think that Davante Adams is involved in those plans. If they are, he's taking pennies. Just saying. All right, what you say, Delicious? So I might be behind on this, but how would you feel about the Ravens going after Amari Cooper? I don't know. I feel like when he was with the Raiders, he wasn't as successful. He goes down to the Cowboys, turns out have a really good year. I think he's a great receiver of, say, above par receiver, but he's no Davante. He's no Davante. I don't think the Ravens should trade for him. I heard somebody saying something about rumors of Peters being traded for Amari Cooper. I don't think that's even on DeCosta's mind right there. There's just no way. I think that DeCosta, when he said, hey, Peters will be on the roster this year, I think he's going to be true to his word. I think he's legit like, hey, we're not even entertaining for one bit about Amari Cooper coming to Baltimore. One, because Eric DeCosta really does like his guys right now. He really likes he likes like Rashad Bateman. He likes Hollywood, even though Hollywood right now might be doing his own thing. We don't know what that is. Like I said, whether it's a tantrum or whether it's a financial move. I think, honestly, the dude he likes his players. He likes the wide receivers that are currently here. Maybe not Boykin as much. I think Boykin's going to be out that door to save that money. But Prochet, I think he's going to be developing even more. Going to take another step this year. Duvernay takes another step this year. Prochet, Rashad Bateman is going to step up and be that number one this year if we don't sign a big time wide receiver. And I think Hollywood really hones his game and takes another step himself. I think our guys are going to be looking good this year. Wide receiver was not an issue this season. It was everything else. This is the first year that we can go into the draft and say, hey, you know what? Wide receiver shouldn't be a priority in the first round. 14 comes along, we do not pick a wide receiver. I guarantee you, we do not pick a wide receiver this year in the first round. If for some reason that happens, y'all can drag me all across Twitter worse than you did Eli Apple if you want to. Please do it. I'll take a photo with one of the most embarrassing photos I can find and let you drag me all across Twitter. But, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. Baltimore will not draft a wide receiver in the first round. I guarantee it. All right. Delicious says, got to keep MP at all costs. Absolutely not at all costs. But I am saying, like, his current tag right now, so what? So what if it costs us the monies? He's worth it. Absolutely worth it. Ryan says he's got to go. Be back later. I probably won't be back later. Be back by the time you get back there. But yes, Delicious says they're fire, Lisa. What's fire? Oh, let's see what she says. Sutton and Def Simply AS10 is another duo I trust for my Ravens info. So as far as the Simply AS10, I think he does highlights. He does some really, really good highlights. So I like his highlights when he says welcome to Baltimore, something along those lines. Yeah, he does a pretty good welcome video like those. And then what'd you say? What else you say? Delicious first year for sure. I like what I see on paper with the wide receivers. Yeah, we got to just let them develop. I said that last year about Boykin. I'm sorry. I felt like there was something there. He just did not get opportunities this year. They saw him truly as that blocking dude, and they want to get everybody else to rock. But I think that was because of what they saw. Maybe there was something that we didn't see. We kept seeing like the beat writers write about Boykin and write about Prochet. Maybe they were told to write about Prochet. Maybe they were told to write about Boykin. But from what we could see with the Lions game, Duvernay was getting a lot of action. And then as you saw throughout the rest of the season, Duvernay was starting to get more reps than Bateman was at one point in time. When you saw the percentage of the snaps, they were up there with Bateman's. It was kind of shocking. I was just like, oh wow, and then like before Bateman came in, Duvernay was that dude. Getting more snaps than Sammy, it seemed like, or getting just as much as Sammy. So it was like, okay, they really see something there. All right, so let's see. So I agree. I was high on Boykin all the way to past midseason. Yes, I was high on Boykin. I'm high on Boykin every year in training camp. Training camp, this dude shows up, and I mean he's explosive. Every Thursday, all the beat writers are coming through saying something about Boykin and how he lit it up, how he caught a nice touchdown, deep bomb, jumped over everybody, this, that, and the other. He's got talent in the practice field. But I mean, right now, as far as I'm concerned, he's just another Chris Moore. Chris didn't let it translate until he got to Houston. I mean, Tyrod helped him out the first 3 weeks of the season, and they were doing it big. But honestly, Chris Moore, his best game was played in college against Eli Apple when he torched him. For I think it was 3 touchdowns, over 230-some yards, whatever. Beast. But did he let that translate to the NFL? For a couple of catches. One-handed catch when Lamar threw it behind him in his first year. But where's Chris Moore at, right now? And where's Boykin going to be next year? Not sure. If he goes down to like ATL or something like that, maybe he gets more work. It didn't work out here. So we need to stick with Duvernay and Prochet instead of bailing already. I appreciate your loyalty. I think that Prochet is going to show up something big if he's given an opportunity to own the slot. And I think Duvernay is a do it all. Put him wherever, and this guy will win games, or he'll win battles, should I say? And then, of course, Wallace. If we sign a big time wide receiver, this definitely hurts Wallace's stock, and that's a problem. I think Wallace plays really tall. I think that he can play on the outside. I think he has a lot to show the Ravens. And I'm looking forward to preseason because I want to see these guys fight. I want to see them fight for the position and show that they are worth a lot more than what we're seeing right now. Benjamin Victor, I believe he was out there with Lamar practicing recently. I was trying to look for the guys that were on the field with him. And as soon as I saw a snippet, I wanted to go see who it was. And so I started comparing faces of wide receivers that we had previously. I think Ben Victor was on the field because Ben Victor is also from where Lamar is from. So it would make sense that he's just hanging out and says, all right, you know what? I'm on the team anyway. Might as well come ball out with the boys since I'm in town. All right, Delicious says, Boykin seems to lack aggression. Some people, some players do. Some people have that Mariota mentality, and it's just not aggressive to be the starter or leader of a team. And I think he definitely needs to be a little bit more physical and recognize that dude is 6'5". I've seen him in real life, and he's just as tall as Mandrews, and you can see muscles on him. Just want him to be actually using that, get out there and be that aggressive guy that we need him to be. Lisa says, I'm wondering who will replace Bruce Cunningham as the Ravens PA announcer since he retired. Now you're going deep. You're going super deep. I didn't know he retired, and that's kind of sad. I'm just hoping that, there's not too much turnover when it comes to our Ravens announcers and stuff. Actually, I'm not a big fan of Quadri Ishmael, especially after the conversation he had with Ingraven and tried to basically talk down to him like Ingraven was just a fan and didn't have any knowledge because he had a knowledge of the game that he played, 20 years ago. Yeah, right. Give me a break. But yeah, if he goes away, cool, whatever. And then they definitely deserve more time and Tylen. Yes, Tylen Wallace definitely deserves some reps. They need to be able to fight for those in camp, though. They got to come up and show, hey, this is why I deserve these type of reps. They got to come in there. It don't matter if it's with the backup. It doesn't matter if it's with Lamar. But they got to come in there and fight for those reps. It takes one play at a time. They got to stack and stack and stack. And they need to be in the offseason working, whether we see it or whether we not see it. They need to be out there grinding. And then, of course, rehabbing the right way, because we saw what happens when you don't rehab the right way. Injuries happen, hamstrings, groins, all that. You have to rest. You got to take that time off after you have hit it hard. Let's see. So he definitely was there. I don't know. Hey, I just want to say thank y'all. It's been about an hour and 24 minutes. I think on Wednesday, like I said, when Big Reg comes back through, we're going to do wide receivers wide receivers, but we're going to do possible wide receivers that the Ravens could pick up, and then talk about some of the top wide receivers in the NFL, not NFL, but in the NFL draft coming up, late rounds. We're going to talk about some late round wide receivers. We're going to talk about some top tier wide receivers, and why, honestly, in my opinion, I believe none of them are Jamar Chase level. They just don't have that type talent, and I don't think they're worth their first round pick. But that's just me. Y'all might have different opinions, but we'll talk about that a little bit more on Wednesday. One last comment, one last round of comments, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get going. Let's see. Lisa says Eric Tomlinson needs the ball more. I think if Oliver is still there, they need to give Oliver a chance. Eric Tomlinson is more of a blocker, and once Boyle comes back, his time might actually go down even more. And then Delicious says, I might have spelled the kid's name wrong, but what do you think about Daniel Faele? I think he's up and down. I think he has the size. You can't teach that size. I think 1 second he's having a phenomenal play, the next second he's on his back. We're going to need consistency, and hopefully he can develop that at the next level. One Senior Bowl game doesn't make or break him. I'm going to go look at some more tape on him. I think he's going to be a decent second or third round pick coming out. And whatever team gets him, I think he might be a gem, but he's got to develop. Like I said, it's got to be consistent going forward as far as what I saw from the Senior Bowl. All right. D says, Drake London might be the only one that stands out to me. There was a couple that stood out. I looked at some highlights. I'm going to go back and look at some more tape on them, not just highlights. I want to see game on game because I like to look at the weaknesses as well as the strengths so that I can put together my own analysis versus just looking at a highlight reel. London, from USC, he had that Michael Pittman-esque type of look, and I'm hoping that he thrives at the next level. I just, like I said, when it comes to the Jamar Chase of the world, after you've seen the best, it's kind of like I'm comparing everything to this guy. And am I saying he's the best? I'm saying he's the best that came out in a couple of years. I'm not saying that best in his rookie years, the best rookie season that we've seen in a very long time. Was it Chase versus Jefferson? Jefferson had a pretty solid rookie year. Jamar Chase came out and beat that year. So I'm thinking, we're not going to see phenomenal wide receivers come out like that for a while. And it might be some misses this year in the first round when they decide to go wide receiver. Am I saying Traylon Burks going to be a miss? Maybe. I don't know. Am I saying London's going to be a miss? It's possible. I think it takes him 2 years to develop. Like I said, we'll get into more of that on Wednesday. I promise you. I'm going to go ahead and end this show. I just want to say thank you for coming through to the home of Original Sports Perspective. From our couch to yours, this is your host, your couch rider, Raven Jermaine Lockett. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, and smack that bell so you know when it's going down. And follow me on Twitter because I'll be doing some crazy stuff on there too. Y'all take care. Have a good evening. Love you all. Peace. Sports, 100% reflective. Sometimes it's Raven. Sometimes it's other teams affected. Hold on tight. Strap in. It's going to get hectic. Couch Rider Report. An Original Sports Perspective.